Hello there, I'm Lieutenant Clone of the 101st Airborne, and today we're going to be covering your advanced combat firing with the 1911 pistol. Now we're assuming you've already gone through your intermediate basic training. Today we'll be covering more advanced combat firing tactics. Now for today's demonstration on advanced combat firing with the 1911 pistol, I'm going to need an assistant. Fellow member of the 101st Airborne, Private Travolsky, get over here. Today Private Travolsky will be assisting me with this demonstration. Thank you. All right, get back over there. We're going to be going over your advanced combat firing techniques involving the pistol. Now, you've already gone through your basic training, as I said before. These are going to be advanced techniques. You'll learn that the 1911 pistol is your advanced, ideal, man-to-man combat pistol within combat firing range. Now, with your 1911 pistol, it's important to maintain safety at all times. After every firing schedule, it's important that you open the chamber and make sure the weapon is clear and ready for firing. Tech Sergeant Travolsky will now demonstrate the proper clearing function of the 1911 pistol. You see, with this method, he has checked the chamber to ensure that the weapon is empty and ready for firing. Now, on top of your standard combat firing techniques, you're also going to want to look to identify signs of the enemy. As you can see here, we've got a Bud Weiser. A clear sign that a kraut has been pampering himself in this area. Now, of course, you've already learned firing with your pistol from the standing position. We're going to go over more advanced positions today. All right, I've got Corporal Chablowski here, and he's going to teach you the firing position from the prone. Now, assume the position. As you can see, he is now capable of engaging targets at a serious distance, and he is using the two-handed technique. You're going to want to remember this, because it will enable you to take shots at extended range. We will now demonstrate the combat firing technique from the prone at a distance of 50 yards from the target. All right, Corporal, go ahead and take the prone. I'd say that's a dead kraut right there. All right, now I'm going to demonstrate the combat firing position, and then we're going to go check the hits on the enemy. I think we got him. Let's go see. Now you can see the target here. From the 50 meters, we were able to get 4 hits on target. That's 2 for each of us. I'd say this kraut, or this Jerry, or this Japper, he ain't going home happy. Wow, now that's stopping power. Good thing he was out with a 45 caliber pistol and not that pansy, dirty, no good kraut 9mm. Next position we're going to cover in your advanced combat firing technique is the kneeling position. Now this is also, you're going to demonstrate using 2 hands as well for enabled stabilization firing. Go ahead and demonstrate. As you can see, he's using the 2-handed firing grip here, which will enable him to take shots at an extended distance against enemy soldiers. Now, whether you're coming up against Jaffas or the Jerrys, you're going to be able to get him with this position. Now, with any of these positions, you will be able to accurately engage the enemy. Sergeant Kowalski, over here. Of course. All right, perfect. Thank you very much. Over there. Now, with any of these positions, you'll be able to accurately engage the enemy with deadly fire. Now that you've seen combat firing from the prone position at 50 meters, we're going to show you combat firing from the kneeling position at 25 yards. All right, Tech Sergeant Kowalski, take the position.
Lieutenant, Private.
Take the position.
Yes, sir.
demonstrate the Neiled Combat Firing stance. Wait a minute, my cigarette has come out. Private! Alright, we're good. Back over there. Now let's see if we can make these hits at 25 yards. I'd say that's a dead crowd right there. Now let's go check our hits. Alright, I'm seeing one hit here and one hit here from my 2 shots with the pistol. Where are your hits?
Sorry, Lieutenant, this is my first time on this course.
It's okay, son. Give me a pistol. Wow, those are 2 great hits right there. I'd say that's a passing grade. Now, I know it was covered in basic training, but we're also going to go over your one-handed, bladed firing at 10 yards. Private? Alright, thank you, Private. Back over there. Alright, I'm gonna do this demonstration first. Alright, Private, your turn's next. Your safety, Private. Get Mike and Private, he's safe. That looks like 2 clear hits on target. Looks like we got another dead Jerry, Kraut, or Cheffer on our hands. Now remember, combat firing doesn't have to be done alone. It can be done in a group as well. I'd say we got a couple of dead Germans there. So now we're going to cover your more advanced combat firing. So this is going to be movement with a pistol. Now there's going to be a lot of misconceptions about combat firing and movement with a pistol. You are still able to hit the enemy effectively and put them in the dirt. We're going to be teaching that today. Now, you might have a natural urge to use the gun sight, but with combat firing, you're not using the gun sight. You're firing with the natural extension of your body. So you're going to want to make sure you have a good bend in your knees, and you're going to want to have a nice straight arm that's in line with your body. At close distances of 10 yards and under, you're able to effectively put rounds on target. So as you're moving up on an enemy position, you spot a target, you come up with your reflex, and you just hit him. And that's how you take out the enemy. Alright, First Sergeant Shablowski, please go ahead and demonstrate the combat firing technique. Now it's important, if you're going left or right, you're going to want to pivot on your foot. So you're not going to want to turn your entire body, you're going to want to take your one foot and pivot left, or pivot right to engage enemy targets. Alright, go ahead and demonstrate. Good. Now, you see what he's doing wrong right here? Stop right there. You see what he's doing wrong? He's walking with a bend in your arm. You're not going to want to walk with a bend in your arm. It's important that you keep your arm straight and in line with the center of your body. That'll ensure that you're able to get accurate hits. Alright, go ahead and do it again. Crowd to your left. Crowd to your right. Wow, those are some good hits on target. Looks like you took that Jerry and gave him a detonate. Alright, now this one's pretty tricky, so let me demonstrate it for you again. Remember, a good bend in the knees and keeping the gun in line with your body is the trick in this here drill. That's 2 more of the enemy put in the ground. Now, in the event you successfully combat fire till you run out of ammunition and the enemy crowds or Jap bastards are still coming, there are other methods available at your disposal that will enable you to take out the enemy. For example, right here I got your standard M3 fighting knife. What you can do with this is sneak up behind the enemy and stab him in the fucking throat. as effective as a 1911 pistol at taking care of a crowd. Now, as part of the advanced combat firing course, we like to train for the most realistic scenarios possible. In this scenario, Corporal Chabowski has been wounded mortally. The enemy is advancing on his position, and a Tiger tank is coming down the road towards him. And he's going to engage and destroy the enemy, because luckily he's armed with an American 45. Wow, that's some firepower right there. Now you can see from the tactics we demonstrated today, we were able to effectively engage and destroy the enemy. Run that private. Alright, back in formation. Practice these techniques. They will save your life. This has been Lieutenant Clone, and I'll see you in the next one. Alright, that intro was brought to you by the War Department that asked me to produce that video on firing with the 1911 pistol, which is actually based on a real 1944 training video that the Army did. And it clearly shows its age, because I think Nick, you would agree with me that the training, it's just bad. Like, for lack of a better term, like a lot of these things they're teaching are just ridiculously bad. And it's not to say that in the 1940s and 30s there wasn't better pistol training available at the time in the private civilian sector, but it just doesn't really matter as far as the military goes. Pistols are so rarely used to begin with. Like, this is effective enough training. It doesn't really matter. They're never really going to use pistols anyway. So even though it's ridiculously bad, I doubt it really affected anything one way or the other. I mean, what are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I mean, with the exception of Tom Hanks in his portrayal of shooting a Tiger tank.
Yeah, Tom Hanks blowing up a Tiger tank was the highlight of me watching World War II movies.
I think honestly that's why I would strive to shoot a 45 is that scene alone.
Shooting with 1911 one-handed, which is what they taught, is retarded. For lack of a better word, it's so stupid. But it was the doctrine of the day.
I'd rather have a Luger.
I'd rather have a 1911.
I've never shot.
Man's looking for a Luger. First crowd we see that we take out, he's gonna get himself one of them Lugers. Not one of them cheap P-38s neither. An original, real Luger.
It's for my kid brother.
Yeah, it's for his kid brother. He's gotta bring him something back. What, he went all the way to Europe in a war and he didn't get anything out of it?
I got a Nazi flag.
Yeah, like a lot of these drills, like you can make hits, like especially with the combat firing, walking in line, taking shots in line with your chest at like very close distances. That could work, but it's funny that they do teach two-handed shooting, which is the teacup shooting, but they only teach it at long range. Whereas you could still, even though teacup is bad, it's better than one-handed shooting, and you could use that at 10 yards to be more effective. Like, I understand the idea of bladed shooting is to make yourself a smaller target when you're shooting like this, but you're also just making yourself so much less accurate.
I think at 10 yards, it's kind of also like your adrenaline's pumping, and if you're that close, then you're probably going to shoot more than just 2 rounds, and probably
a lot of the drills are 2 rounds, which is what all the drills are in the training video. They're always 2 rounds per target, which in real combat, you'd probably just dump it.
Yeah.
If somebody's point blank with you and you're panicking, like an average GI.
The chance, and I'd rather honestly have my rifle at that point.
Yeah, like why the fuck do you have a pistol anyway? Like you should have your fucking rifle. That'll put somebody down in 2 rounds.
I'll take the M1 over the Car 98 any day, and I know that I could win that battle at 10 yards. Because
essentially the gun that was replacing the 1911 was the carbine, and that has, you shoot that with 2 hands. It's a rifle, BDW really, and you can shoot that so much more effectively than you could shoot a pistol. So that's kind of why it was really replacing the 1911.
I got nothing.
Yeah.
That's a fact.
So, well, maybe not the most practical training. It's what they taught. It's what they learned. Any last thoughts?
Other than the training of it was horrible, it's probably about as equally horrible as my mustache.
All right, this message has been approved by the War Department in Clone or Die, and we'll see you in the next video.
Now, just as a quick comparison, it's not to say that you can't get hits doing these techniques. Like, I can be here and doing the chest inline where the target is close enough that I'm still able to hit it with those 2 rounds. Like, if I just come up without using my sights or anything. And I still get 2 hits relatively close together on the target there, but what's really the feasibility of doing this versus like our more modern shooting, where we're just gonna come out and we're gonna be more accurate. That's just the way it is. That's just time being the best teacher, really. Because, I mean, how much is there a difference between this and coming up and firing versus me like this and coming up and just, which I got 2 rounds on target faster and more accurately doing that more modern style than the World War II tactics. Nick, your turn.
What am I doing?
Also, shooting a original 1911 hammers the shit out of the web of your hand. There's a reason they made the tang longer on the A1. It fucking hurts. The A1, which Nick is shooting today, I'm shooting an original 1911. They made it a little bit longer, and it does not murder the web of your hand. All right, do your combat firing. Combat firing. He's going to perform what we like to call a tactical reload. A tactical reload is when you have time to reload under duress. Yeah, I mean, it's just faster, it's more accurate. Your rounds are closer together. Like, you can see, even on the target right here, like, a lot of our modern firing rounds are stacked, and then a lot of our combat firing are kind of like a foot apart. Because we're shooting one-handed, we'll often have like 1 round down here and then 1 round up here, because that recoil is just taking us up and we're not able to press down as effectively as we are with 2 hands. Or with 2, we're getting them like right here. We're getting them about 6 inches apart, so we've closed our group like quite a bit. Just the reality of time, I guess. And combat firing.
And wearing your proper eye pro. It's not real eye pro, but
yeah, wearing your eye protection is not period correct. Neither is trigger discipline or gun safety. It's not period correct, so we don't do that.
Or actually being able to see. That's why I didn't.
Yeah, not being able to see is period correct. Hey, how did you get in the paratroopers without 20/20 vision?
I had a waiver.
Okay, you got a waiver, no problem.
Now this is Lieutenant Clone saying, if you like this video, just wait till my Con 98 video. I'm sure Reddit is gonna love that one.